What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode on the Vercitorix gaming channel. Today we are looking at the VW Polo GTi, the little 1.4 engine that produces, what is it, 180 brake? I think that's the engine that's in this. Now VWs, they have this aura about them. They're known for reliability. They've got a massive following in terms of campers and all these other big things that VWs have, and as a result they hold their money really well. So trying to get a hold of one of these second-hand cheap, not an easy thing, especially not the Polos and the GT and the Golfs, especially in GTi form. GTIs are like the pinnacle of VW. Everyone wants a VW GTi. Like, you could say you've got a VW R, you've got a VW Golf R, but it doesn't have the same ring as a VW Golf GTi. There's just something about the VW. And it is a brand that is loved worldwide. Worldwide. And I love this. I've owned a Golf. I've had a Golf. I had a Golf Mark 5. It was a GT Sport. It was not a GTi. And I thought it was one of the best cars I'd ever owned. I haven't got it now. I've got a Ford Fiesta ST now. Simply because I wanted a Ford Fiesta ST. It is a Mark 7.5. But enough about my Fiesta. We're just having a quick look around the Golf GTi. Now, I've done it in just all black. I thought about putting a little colour to it, but there's just something about the VWs in black. And it's got them nice big alloys on it. The alloys that you normally would see on a Golf, I think. I don't think you see them on these Polos very often. But you can see on the outside, it has that very sleek, very iconic VW look to it. You can't. It's like, I did look at one of these as well before I brought the Fiesta. But it was just the price of them, man. The price is so expensive. But this mod actually, from what I can see of this Polo, it looks really good. It looks high quality. Everything is bouncing off perfectly. It looks a really good mod. Aesthetically, so far, it looks like a really good mod. Now, let's have a look on the interior. So again, the interior looks very much like a standard VW GTi. Standard VW Golf in Polo. You know what I mean? It looks very, very standard. It looks a standard sort of trim. There's no... Unless the shader's not working, I don't see no tartan seats, which is a little unfortunate. Anyone that owns a Golf knows that tartan seats are the way forward. I just noticed that them grab handles look a little uncoloured. That might mark it down slightly. I don't know whether it's meant to be like that. I don't think it is. Maybe this is just the way the colour is in here. I mean, it's something minor. I don't like the fact that there's no tartan seats. It looks like the GTI sort of wrote on them. The seats look very basic. There's no tartan in there. But in terms of the dash itself, the dash looks very good. Very, very good. Looks nice and clean, nice and so yes. Now when you look into the rear view mirror, you can see that there is tartan. So that's obviously just the shaders haven't loaded. But on the... Okay, I see. So shaders haven't quite loaded for this completely. But you can see in the rear view that they're there. They are tartan seats. They do have a level look to them in the rear view. They don't, obviously, here. So, something's happened there. I don't know whether that's a mod mistake or whether that's something I've mistakenly done. I don't know. But everything else, apart from that, looks good. I'm not going to mark it down on that because I've just spotted that they are actually there. It's just my game. So, back on the outside, let's take a listen to this little engine. Don't like the way it cut off there. Little bit of a sound issue. Very underwhelming. It sounds like a GTI would sound. It sounds like the way these new exhausts, I don't know why I keep saying Golf, but these new exhausts sound, it sounds very similar to them. So let's have a listen inside the cockpit. Let's see if that makes a difference to it. Ah, it has a rev limiter, look. Interesting. So it has a rev limiter, so it might sound better when it's on the go. So I suppose we got to test it, haven't we? So where are we? We are up in Thurso in Scotland. We're gonna head to Oban, I think it is. Done a little route. It's about 425 kilometers. It's gonna take roughly about 20 minutes. It's a little bit longer than what it normally is. So we'll just get on. We'll see how it goes. I like the fact that this one actually tells you what gear you're in. Obviously, it's a newer car, so it has that ability to tell you that, which I like. So we're just gonna... Okay, so I cannot see to the left-hand side of me, which is great. Doesn't quite turn far enough for me to see the left-hand side, but that's fine. So we do have... Yeah, so the rev limiter's disappeared now. Bloody idiot. Still not sure on this exhaust note. Now, maybe we get enough of an open run to do something here. Now is this... Do we just go for this? I think we go for it. It's not bottoming out. It sounds very good. It's a little bouncy. Yeah, so it sounds very metallic. That's not even the right word. It sounds very... I don't know how to describe how it sounds. It doesn't sound like a G... It doesn't sound really rough and ready. There's just no... Like, it's a sport hatchback, it should have this to it, you know what I mean? It just does not. It just does not have that sound to it. And I was about to say, it feels very twitchy as well. But I think that's just purely down to the speed we're going. If we knock it back... Yeah, see, at 70 miles an hour it feels really good. It doesn't feel as twitchy. I suppose let's see if the lights come on. The lights do come on. I like them. What about the front? Again, I like them. They look good. The lights look really good. We're going to pull up here and we're just going to have a quick look at the lights. While we're sat here, let's just have a quick look at the lights. Lights look good. About high vis. Yeah, see, I like these. They look good. Right, is he letting me go? Scan you there. He's letting me go. So I'm just going to go for it. She just feels really underwhelming. Feels really underwhelming, and I don't think that's I honestly don't think that's a mod issue. I think they've tried to replicate the Polo GTi, and I think the Polo GTi is just underwhelming in a sense. Maybe that's the reason. still trying to decide whether I like the model, whether I like this car or not. I think in the sense of it replicating a Polo GTi, I think it's done a really good job. Would I come onto this game, buy this car, and drive it a lot? When I compare it to the E36, like if I'm just looking for a nice little drive about, nothing too strenuous, just enjoying the drive, nice 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour. Maybe if I'm just looking for a stroll. But if I'm looking at something that actually makes me want to get in it and drive again, and really give me some fun, when I compare it to the other two cars we've tested on the channel, the E36 and the 106 GTi, both of them cars just made me smile a little bit more. And the Polo the 106 definitely made me smile a hell of a lot more than what this is doing. I was hoping this would be like somewhere near that level of what the 106 did. The 106 gave me such vibes, it felt so good, and I was hoping this was going to do the same, and it's just not. Maybe it's just that standard VW. It's robust, it's clean, it's simple, and maybe it's just too simple. As a result, it's too clean, too refined. There's no oomph, I think is the right way to say it. There's nothing that makes me want to go, yeah, I want to get in this Polo GTi and play it on ETS today. But I would quite happily come on ETS and go, well, what do I want to drive? I want to drive the 106. I would love to drive the E36 if they sorted a few of the little issues with it. This... I don't want to drive. Like, and that's not the mod creator's fault. I'm not going to blame the mod creator for that. You know what I mean? It brakes well. I'll give it that. It brakes well. And I don't think it's the mod creator's fault that this is relatively boring to drive. I think this is a mistake on the part of VW themselves for making a GTi that is genuinely boring. So, it's not filling me with excitement. It's just like it's like a nerd's first car. It's good, it's efficient, it does what it does. I mean that in the nicest way possible to nerds. Like, it's clean, it's efficient. It has the power. It doesn't sound like it, but it does. It's just an all-round well-made car that is just not the sort of car that I'd enjoy. And I genuinely thought I was going to have more, like, at least with the Fiesta. The Fiesta. I don't know if they've done it in the mod. But in the Fiesta, even though it sounded alright, it sounds alright, when you're driving it in real life, it's got that Symphosa. It makes you feel like the car's going faster than what it actually is, the sound of it. If that makes any sense. It feels like it sounds like it's going faster than it is, because of the way that exhaust sounds. So obviously I've had mine modified, so it's even different to that. But I think that's a trick that Polo has missed. VW have missed with this car. Do they have something similar in real life? The Fiesta? Maybe. Maybe. I don't know for sure. But if it does, this mod's missed it. This mod has missed it. Like... even when it gets right up in its rev range, it just feels like it's squealing at me. It doesn't have that low, raspy exhaust note that you expect from a performance car. It just sounds really raspy. Sorry, really squeaky and whistly and... I mean, the car itself, I didn't even realise that we're in a... I thought that was just a junction. I didn't think it was a part of the road. In terms of driving it, the mod is really nice. The car drives really well, it reacts really well. It's good on the brakes. You know what I mean? If I slam the brakes, it's good. It feels good. It drives well. So in terms of how the mod handles, very good job. Very, very good job to the mod creator. It's just a shame that you've modded a car that is relatively boring to drive. You know what I mean? And I don't... That's no part on you. I think you've done a quality job. This isn't even a turn either. Scotland, you have some weird roads, man. I don't think that the mod creator's done anything wrong with this vehicle. I just think the Polo is a genuinely boring car. And unfortunately, it comes across in the mod as a result. Now, if I could modify a good sounding exhaust to it, I think that would really boost it up a little bit. Maybe if I tried one of the other engines, maybe we come back and we try one of the other engines. This has 3 engines to it. It has the 1.4, a 1.8, and it does. There is a mod for. There is another engine, but it says it has to remove the chassis or something. But I don't know whether it just changes the chassis of the car itself or whether it'll just fucking freeze the game. I don't want to try that. As a result. So if you are the mod creator and you're watching this video, please let me know whether that would crash my game. I suppose I'd have to try it and see what happens. Maybe we try one of them other engines and see if that has a better exhaust note and gives me more of a feel to it. Because this little 1.4 engine, although it's got the power, it's not got the it's not got what I was hoping, and it's a little bit disappointing, in all honesty. And also, I'd like the navigation to work. I've tried doing the it doesn't seem to work, and I assume it probably doesn't work. But as we've seen with, well, we haven't seen it in the other 2 cars, but when I test drove the G-Wagon, that had it, where it navigated properly in the car, so it felt, I didn't have to have this screen next to me, which obviously I've covered up with my face a little bit to make it a little bit more worth. You know what I mean? But it is definitely there. Like, she picks up well, she does what she has to do really well. But it's so clean in the way it does it. It's so efficient in the way it does it. It just makes it really boring to drive. I do feel like I'm completely slandering this mod, and I'm not. The mod itself is really, really, really good. It's just the car itself is boring. The car itself is awful. One thing it does have going for it, at least in the game, it has a good litre tank. 245 litres. That's a good sized tank. That's good for 1,000 kilometers plus on this game. So I like the tank on it. I think the tank's really good. I like the interior. The interior's really well done. I'm a little bummed about the shaders not working for me, but I think that's my problem, not the mod's problem. The exterior looks really good. It looks and feels like a Polo GTi. It's driving like a Polo GTi. You know what I mean? It has nice brakes to it. It's just not... It's just Polo GTi. You know what I mean? It's nothing special. You know what I mean? And I do feel really bad saying that because the mod creators put a lot of work into this car, and I think they've done a really good job on capturing. And you could say it in another sense, like, because of how boring it feels, and personally knowing how boring Polo GTIs are, I have drove one, I have test drove one. It was incredibly boring. It didn't, like, the Fiesta has this thing to it where it feels really good to drive. It feels fun to drive. It throws you about really well. Polo didn't have that when I test drove it, and that's what obviously put me on the Fiesta in the first place. And this mod captures that. So in that sense, while I'm saying the car's really boring, the mod creator has captured this Polo perfectly. So what? It sounds like I'm slandering it, but I'm actually giving it a really big compliment. The fact that it feels like a Polo GTi, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But it's yeah, it's a Polo GTi. I don't know what else to say about it. But it turns well, it moves well, I like it. It does the job. It looks good. I like it. Everything works as it should. I think it's top model round. No, mod rating. I'm gonna have to sort out categories on how I rate these cars, because in terms of the mod itself, and if it was his point to capture how boring the car is to drive, I think he's done a quality job. I would probably rate this probably an 8, maybe a 9 on the mod itself. Trying to pull away from the fact that, oh, it's boring. I think that's me disliking the car more than disliking the mod. So now, obviously, I said I wasn't going to rule anything regarding these shaders on these seats because the rearview mirror shows them there. So I assume that shaders haven't loaded for me or something. So in terms of how I view this mod, I think this mod is very good. I think for the mod alone, it's got to be an 8 and 8.5. It dropped points for lack of excitement. Like, I can rate this as a 9 out of 10 and a 9.5 out of 10 in terms of the mod itself. But this is a video game at the end of the day, and while I like it to be relatively realistic, I think a good mod will also give you that wow feature, that excitement. And I think it's too close to the real thing that there is no wow feature to it. Like, but at the same time, can I mark him down on that? I don't know. I don't know where to put this mod. I'm gonna put it. Am I putting it as good as Polo? I know I've already said it's around an 8 and 8.5. Do I think it's as good as the 106? Honestly, no. There was something about the 106 that was just so enjoyable when I drove it. It was so enjoyable to drive that this thing just doesn't have that. It just doesn't have that that to it, and that's disappointing. You know what I mean? That it just doesn't have that to it. It disappoints me that it doesn't. And for that, I am gonna just mark it down. Only half a point, just based on that. Based on that alone, that it is boring to drive. It's not. There's no excitement here. I'm majorly disappointed with it. I was hoping for something similar to the GTI, like the 106 GTI, like something fun to drive. And I think that it's way too close to the real world thing. You know what I mean? But that's also, oh, I don't know. I'm gonna go with an 8 overall. I think yeah, 7.5 and 8. The mod itself is quality. The car looks the part. The interior looks the part. Overall, yeah, the mod itself is really good. But the lack of excitement with this mod. And I have to go on how I feel with the mod, you know what I mean? Like, I know I compare it to the real world thing, and if I was to say, like, oh, how would you rate the car based on the real world thing? 9.5. You know what I mean? It is right up there. It is almost as good as the real thing, this mod. In terms of how do I see it in ETS, I probably won't be driving this car again, in all honesty. It's too boring to drive. It's too much like the real thing, which is a good thing and a bad thing. So yeah, I think it's 7.5 and 8, somewhere around there. I think that is probably the best mark for this car. But that will end another episode of car mods on ETS2. Little disappointed with this one. I don't know what we're going to do next. We're going to have a look at a Merc, I think. Or maybe we have a look at the Golf. So I have got a Golf mod. Maybe we have a look at the Golf and see if the Golf has a similar thing to it. Whether it sounds slightly better. It feels slightly better. Who knows? Who knows? I haven't drove the Golf. But I don't think we're going to do the Golf next. I think we're going to do a Merc. Or we might do the F-150. I do have the Huracan and the Aventador to look at as well. I know I've said I've already drove the Aventador, so maybe we'll look at the Huracan. There's a few cars we can look at, but that's going to end today's episode anyway. If you have enjoyed it, please hit the subscribe button and the like button. Leave a comment. Those things really help the YouTube algorithm and helps this video get seen. And I will see you for the next one. I don't know when the next one will be, but I'll see you for the next one, whenever it may be. Have a good one, guys. Disappointing with this one.